T.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. I hope you're having yourselves a great morning this morning. We appreciate you being here with us this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and your patience as we got set to return here to the great Syracuse, New York, and central and upstate New York. I say that we're going to have a jam-packed show, right? I say that all the time. We're going to have a jam-packed show today. The show's going to be jam-packed. Well, today's show is jam-packed. We truly and completely have maybe one of our most jam-packed shows ever airing this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I'm going to tell you why. Starting the show off in just a few minutes, you're going to hear my Q&As with Syracuse Orange men's basketball head coach Jim Boeheim. On the team moving the ball around with team assists in their exhibition game, 26 against Pace, 21 against LeMoyne, so 20-plus assists in both of those games that they had to come into the season. I'm going to talk with Jim Boeheim on center Frank Anselem, and I'm going to speak with Jim Boeheim on his support of Dino Babers and the Syracuse Orange football program. Then you're going to hear one-on-one conversations with Symir Torrence as well as Benny Williams of the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team following their game against LeMoyne in the Dome. So more extended conversations with Symir Torrence and Benny Williams, two newcomers onto the team. Symir transferring from Marquette and a CNY native. Benny Williams coming as a true freshman. Later on at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, you're going to hear from Dave Kline, the head coach of the CNS North Stars football team, as the team gets ready for the Section 3 Class AA semifinals. Then at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, West Genesee Wildcats football head coach Joe Corley is going to join the show as they get ready for the Section 3 Class A semifinals. And then in hour number 2, for the first time ever, UAB Associate Vice President and Director of Athletics Mark Ingram is going to join Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to speak with me on UAB's decision to move into the American Athletic Conference, which will be followed at 10:40 a.m. Eastern Time by video conversations featuring LeMoyne men's basketball head coach Nate Champion, as well as Athletics Director Bob Beretta of LeMoyne College. Before we finish today's broadcast off with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, and that happening at 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time. So, we have a lot to get into, and we're going to get into all of it here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. I am so ecstatic to be able to bring all of this to you this morning, and I appreciate you for being here and hanging out with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So without further ado, let's hop right into it as Wake Up Call gives you multiple, on top of multiple, conversations with Syracuse, with LeMoyne, with UAB, with CNS, and with West Genesee, all this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Thank you for being here as we get set to bring each of these to you. We're going to start things off with my questions to Jim Boeheim and what he had to say. So Jim Boeheim starting things off here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning with his take on the team as far as the assists that they have been bringing to the table in these exhibition games, just spreading the ball around and the importance of that. This is what Boeheim had to say about that. Jim, can you speak on 21 assists in this game and 26 in the last one, just spreading the ball around?
No, they're looking for each other. They're doing a really good job. There's really been no situation where I thought somebody should pass and didn't. Benny passed a couple that he should have shot. He's a very good passer. He's looking for people, but he gets into that lane area Frankie and Jesse are better to get the ball off the boards if Benny misses than to catch it and try to score. So we want Benny to try to finish in those situations.
Speaking on the team spreading the ball around, thinking that there was a lot of good decisions made, and also mentioning the fact that he wants Benny to finish a little bit more there around the rim. As we step forward, you'll hear from Benny Williams in just a few minutes here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Starting things off with my Q&As with Jim Boeheim, coming off of their victory over LeMoyne in their final preseason game, exhibition game. This is what Jim had to say about Frank Anselem, his center.
Jim, can you speak on Frank Anselem's progression from last season to this year?
Yeah, I think he's getting better. He's still, he's moving on some screens. And it's new. It's new to him. He's learning. But he's, I think, in better positions. But he's getting better.
Talking about Frank Anselem moving on some screens, but that he is getting better. I asked Jim about Frank Anselem because Alan Griffin, who is the position coach for the big men, said that Frank Anselem has made the biggest progression that he has seen. And so that was worth, I wanted to see what Jim thought about Frank Anselem and where he was going from here. And Jim spent a lot of time in these two press conferences speaking on the Syracuse Orange football team and Dino Babers. So I figured to just outright ask Jim what his thoughts are on Dino as well as this football team. And this is what Jim had to say about Dino Babers and the Syracuse Orange football program.
Jim, you've spoken highly these last couple of press conferences about Dino and the football team. Just what you can say about, that relationship that maybe you have with him and the importance of coaches.
We have a really good relationship. He's a really good guy. I've always thought that. I think that what I've seen as a fan is you want your team to play hard and to be in there and have a chance. And this team's done that. They obviously could have won a couple more games, but Liberty was really close, and so was the game before Boston College. That was really close too. Virginia Tech, and they pulled those out. And but I just think they played really well. They made a major change in how they're playing. And adjusted. They have a tight end playing quarterback. The guy that was a tight end last year, I think, tight end or some kind of end. And he's a tight end? Receiver. All right, we'll use that word. I can't see him being a speed receiver, but I can see him being a receiver. Possession. We'll say possession receiver. But, they made that changeover, and the line got a lot better, even though they've had injuries. And the defense has scrambled and, done a lot of good things. And, there's no question I'm really impressed by, what they've done. And I think it's something they can build on. And that's a good thing.
Jim speaking there on the Syracuse Orange football team, giving him a vote of confidence, speaking highly about them and what his take is from them and being in games and speaking on the move and the shift to Garrett Schrader, which he's mentioned a lot, and just, what his overall take has been. And I think, listen, if you're going to get an endorsement at Syracuse from Jim Boeheim, you take it. And Dino Babers is in a position right now where he's put himself in a good place. He very well may have kind of gotten the hot seat off of him a little bit here. And where the team is at, the fact that the team is one win away from a bowl game, the fact that the team has won 5 games this season after winning a mere 1 last season. So it can't hurt you to have Jim Boeheim saying, you know what? I like what they're doing. I like the program. That can't hurt you at all. So I just I wanted to ask Jim outright about it because he had spoken about it so much. You know, he's taken time out of his post-game press conferences to speak on this football team. So I thought that it was interesting, and I wanted to get his take. And he said some really good things about Dino that I would imagine Dino probably appreciates very much so. So it was good to see it, and good to see that, you know, there is that connection. Because you wonder sometimes, you know, especially with the head coaches changing so much over the years with Syracuse football and Jim being a mainstay, you wonder, do these guys talk? You know, is there a connection? And, you know, is there camaraderie? So it's nice to see that. And like Jim said, he said, I'm a fan. I go to the games. So I just thought it was really interesting to have that connection. And I think it's a beautiful thing for Dino and for the team to have that type of support, especially from a Hall of Fame coach. We're going to move straight into my conversations with Symir, Torrence, as well as Benny Williams to stay on schedule with so many guests coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. So let's jump right into my conversation here with Symir, Torrence after LeMoyne.
Well, 2 exhibitions, but still you and Syracuse Orange. What did you learn from these couple games?
We're just learning about us, getting better as a unit, trying to figure out what we can do better on the offensive and defensive end, whether that's just me getting downhill, me finding better options out on the perimeter, decision-making from everybody, what can each guy do better on each end, and it just comes down to effort. We have the talent, we got the size, now it just comes down to all of us working together and putting in the effort that we put in every day in practice.
We haven't really seen a lot of involvement from the bigs offensively in a while at Syracuse. What can you say about the guys that are here now? And you being a point guard, are you going to be looking for the Jesse Edwards and the Frank Anselms?
Oh, for sure. When I get downhill, when I get my chance to get downhill, the bigs are obviously going to step up, and their ability to catch it high and finish high is incredible. They work on it every day, and they're getting better at it. And I trust them. I'm going to keep passing it no matter what. That's really it. If they see that I'm going to keep passing it, then obviously they better catch it. But yeah, the guards and the bigs have a great relationship, and the bigs are doing well in practice.
The newcomer family of you, Jimmy Boeheim, Cole Swider, Benny Williams. What can you say about how you guys have maybe found your place in the fabric of this team?
Oh yeah, for sure. Us 4 guys, we just bring in a different energy in different ways that can help this team go far. At the end of the day, we all want the same goal, and that's to win and go far into the tournament. But we all know that it takes the team together, but it takes it day by day in and day out. Got to get your reps in. You got to get whatever you need to do to be the best you. So I mean, this team has the 4 best newcomers in the country. I think we're ready to go, and yeah, we're fired up.
Why are you the 4 best?
Just because we're smart. I don't know. I have so much confidence in us 4. It doesn't matter who's in front of us. I'm going to pick us 4 at the end of the day, always.
You and Joe Girard, obviously Joe's played point here, you're point guard. How have you guys meshed together, and what have you taken from him?
I mean, it's not really new. Played with him at AAU,
yeah.
And usually when I'm on the floor, I usually go to the 1, he goes to the 2. It's because he's a better shooter. And I like to find Joe in open space, and he also likes to find me in transition. So it kind of works out well. I mean, I played with Joe for a while and in the summer, so our chemistry is still there, and it's only growing from now. Love playing with the kid because he has so much heart, and especially he's a local guy. He comes from New York, and I just admire that he just goes hard every day, no matter what.
One word to describe this this year's team?
Unforgettable. It's going to be an unforgettable year. I said that from the beginning. I'm going to keep saying that. So,
unforgettable in every way. Nat King Cole and Natalie Cole, what's up? But I like that. One word to describe this year's team. Unforgettable. He said, I've been saying it from the beginning. I'm going to say it again. It's Symir Torrence giving his thoughts on this upcoming season. He also said the 4 best newcomers in the country are on Syracuse's team. And I have 2 of them on the show this morning. You just heard from Symir. You're going to hear from Benny Williams. You have heard from Jimmy Boeheim. And you have, of course, heard from Cole Swider. Here's Benny Williams on his thoughts on the Syracuse Orange. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Well, getting a couple games under your belt, albeit exhibition, just what your takeaways have been?
I think we're really coming together as a team. Personally, I think I played well, especially for my first time playing in front of that many people. Of course, I can do things better. Everybody can do things better. We know that. We're going to put the work in to be a great team.
What can you do better? What are you taking away?
Look for my shot more. I think I'm passing up too many shots, rebounding, offensive and defensively, and just running back, just putting more energy.
What has Coach Boeheim said to you? Has he given you those pointers, or is there something else?
Yeah, what I just said, yeah.
So you've already taken it in?
Yeah, for sure.
So for you with your shot, I mean, have you done that before where you've had maybe a lower arc that you're trying to work on?
It's gotten way better since I came here in the summer. Still got more work to do, just trying to get it more consistent, trying to get a second nature so I'm not thinking about it when I end the game.
What's Adrian Autry done to improve your game?
A lot. Like everything that you see is pretty much from him that you didn't see like last year. Just putting a lot of work in, and it's definitely paying off as far as my shot, ball handling, being tougher, just having a different mentality when it comes to the basketball.
When I was speaking with Symir Torrence, he said that you, as well as him, Jimmy Boeheim, and Cole Swider, the 4 newcomers coming in, are the best 4 newcomers in the, like, as far as a newcomer class, the best in the country. Would you?
No doubt. No, for sure, no doubt. That's I'm the only freshman, but the class that we got that came in this year is unbelievable. We got 4 players that's going to play right away.
What do you think sets you up, even though you're a true freshman, to come in here and immediately make an impact?
Putting the work in over the years. I think I have a different mindset from people. Just understanding that I can do the things that I put the work in to do, and then it's time to show it.
One word to describe this year's team?
Great.
One word to describe this year's team from Symir Torrence: unforgettable. Benny Williams: great. 2 great conversations with these gentlemen because they said so much. They shared so much. And that's what we're here for, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. To learn together, to grow together, and to really get down to who these guests are, what they hope for, and how they're going to get there. So I appreciate their time. Speaking of time, we'll take a step aside as, once again, this show today may set a record for the jam-packedness of it. We'll be back right after this fast break inside the Cafe Kubal studios with Mr. Dave Kline, the head coach of the CNS North Stars football program, who are moving into the 2021 Section 3 Class AA semifinals this week. One step away from being in the finals. And we're one step away from Dave Kline joining the show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, which he will do right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. So however you're tuning in, thank you so much. We're inside the Cafe Kubal studios. This gentleman is no stranger to that. We did a live broadcast from there during these pandemic times. We were able to get out there, get together, and hopefully put on the screen some positive things for people as we've navigated through a tough 18-plus months with one another. So Dave Kline means a lot to me. He has meant a lot to me for years. It's not just about wins and losses. It's about how people treat you more than anything else. And he's treated me with the utmost respect, been very kind, has made himself available, and we've been able to enjoy on the field and off the field moments, and a lot of off the field positive times as well, which, building on a friendship that I care about very, very much so. So when I see that him and the CNS North Stars are moving on, it carries more weight than just a team in Central New York. They're a lot more than that to me. So I'm very excited for the 2021 Section 3 Class AA semis as CNS is moving forward. And in moving forward, we get to move forward with him on the broadcast today, which means a lot to me to be able to share this moment with you and to have Coach back on the broadcast. So with that being said, it is my honor, my privilege to be featuring none other than Coach here on the broadcast on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and that being our CNS head football coach, Dave Kline. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Dan. Thank you. That's a heck of a nice introduction you gave me. I don't know. Wow.
Well, you deserve it, Coach. I mean, you've always been good to me, always been kind, and like I said, always made yourself available. And the time is something you can't get back, and you've always been very gracious with that. So I want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you. Hey, you gotta treat people the way you like to be treated. That's how I look at life. Treat everybody with respect and kindness, and hopefully you get the same thing back.
Coming from Coach Kline this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We spoke going into the Section 3 Class AA playoffs, and now you're moving forward. Let's go back into the game that got you into the semis and just what your major takeaways have been.
We did a lot of good things. You're going to hear me complain about things. I mean, we did have 500 yards of offense, and we gave up 100 yards on defense. We only gave up 100 yards. We won 35-7, but as a coach, you always want the perfection. I think we fumbled 2 out of our first 4 plays. We had some unnecessary penalties. Sometimes there were lack of concentration for lining up or jumping off sides. That just put us in situations that weren't good. You have to avoid situations like being 1st and 15, and as opposed to 1st and 10 or maybe even 2nd and 5 because you did something silly. Those are things we're really focusing on cleaning up this week and trying to eliminate.
And like you said, 500 yards of offense, but you're breaking down the film and you're seeing places where you could get better. What were the reasons that, I know you and I were talking a little bit off the air about it, but why do you think some of these things were happening? Why there were some early fumbles and different things going on? How did you kind of go over that with the team, and did you get some answers?
Well, it was really hard to get, obviously the kids don't want to fumble. The kids don't want to make mistakes. It was just, we really stressed with the kids about just securing the ball, honoring the football. If we have the football, the opponent can't score. So we got to make sure every time we touch the ball, we honor the ball, we hold on to it, we do what we got to do, and then penalties is just a matter of what, it's just concentration. Get your mind right, get yourself focused in there, and execute what needs to be done. Those are things we talked about with the kids. Obviously you can't go backwards and beat them up for what they did. You can't, lose your mind on them, but you go through it, review with film, and you discuss it. And then all week long we focus on being disciplined, being smart, and honoring the football.
I love that statement, honoring the football. What does that mean to you, and where did you get that from?
Actually, I think one of our coaches, I think Coach G used it the most. And it just means, if you got the football, you're running it, make sure you're securing the football. Don't turn the football over. If the ball's coming to you, you got an opportunity to make the catch, to extend it, pull up that ball in, catch that football, secure it before you do anything else. If you're the quarterback, rather than throw a pass on the run that might be ill-advised, maybe live to play another down, throw the ball out of bounds, scramble a little bit, run out of bounds. But don't, honor that football. Don't give it to the other team.
And, like you said, you talked about penalties and, fumbles happen. And like you said, nobody wants to fumble the ball and whatnot. But penalties, how do you attack those as a coach? How do you go about that? Because those are self-inflicted wounds. So what do you see on film, and how do you try to address that? What language, what's kind of your MO of how you go about addressing penalties?
It's about concentration. It could be, as everybody else does out there, you got a defense that's calling out their signals as you're trying to run your cadence, and they're communicating with each other loud. It's that we just have to be focused on ourselves. We have to be focused on what we're doing. We have to be focused on our quarterback calling out the cadence. Have to do that. We just can't do things, like one time we had 5 guys in the backfield. You can't do that. You got to line up appropriately, The wide receivers have to make sure they're lined up. We only have 4 guys in the backfield. You got to make sure if you're supposed to be on the line, you're on the line. Don't take anything for granted. You got the official right next to you. Ask them, am I on the line or not? Don't just assume. So we stress that stuff with the kids, and it's all about focus. Like this week, we're making noise in practice, trying to make sure our kids, when we're on offense, are listening to our quarterback and not just randomly doing nothing.
That coming here from Dave Kline, the head coach of the CNS North Stars football team. You have in this semifinal round of Section 3 Class AA playoffs, you'll be meeting Liverpool. Thoughts on what Liverpool brings to the table? Obviously, you played them earlier this season at Liverpool and lost a close one, 21-14. Your takeaways from what you've seen from them as you get set for this one?
Liverpool, you see a big, strong, physical team. They're always known as playing great defense. They've always played great defense. Very physical up front. They got 2 big offensive tackles on offense that like to play. Those guys. I think their offense runs through those 2 guys. Whether what depends on what they're doing, they just do exceptional stuff. They can turn around and throw, a few running backs at you. They go 2-3 deep at the running back. They're all pretty good athletes. So it's going to be, you got to get your head on, screwed on straight, because it's going to be a physical battle no matter what. Anytime you walk into the game with them, it's going to be a physical battle. So you got to be prepared for that.
There's been, obviously that feeling of rivalry. And I felt it in covering CNS and in covering Liverpool, that the student bodies get into it. Do you get a sense of that? Is there an air of that? Kind of, and I know that, as a coach, you got to focus and whatnot, but in the week leading up to it and whatnot, Do you get a feel for that with the student body, that the Liverpool CNS games maybe mean a little bit more to them?
I got to be honest with you, I don't work in the CNS school, so I really don't see the kids, the normal, typical school kids every day, because I don't, like I said, I just go there, I coach out there. So I really don't know, but I just know that, you hear the buzz around the community that people get excited about this game. I mean, heck, we're right down the road from each other, a lot of cross borders, kids all know each other, and everybody makes it out like it's, a battle or bloodbath, but it's funny, when we played them in the spring, a bunch of kids on that team are all roommates together. They're friends in college. So, I mean, it's on a football field. It happens. It's a game. Yeah. But, it's what it is. It's on a football field. You walk off the football field, you're friends. Like I said, those kids are all, it's like 3 or 4 of them, they're all roommates together down at Cortland. So it's awesome. You want to go compete hard, but you want to do it against everybody. So.
And no, it does. And Mancuso, knowing that this is it for him, this is this little swan song at Liverpool. What does that do for you from coach to coach?
You just you can't let that play. And I mean, it's a whole bunch of them there. I mean, there's Frank Nettie, Bob DeLong, Lacerdo, Coach Lacerdo. All those guys are leaving at the end of this year, and those have been some names along with Dave that have been in the football world here for a long time, that have been around Central New York football, that have been important keys to a lot of kids and that. So, you know what I mean? And we have, we've known them for years. I get them, guy Gene who's on my staff was pretty good friends with those guys, because he coached with them for a while. So it's, it's an emotional week, not to say the least, but again, our focus is on us, which we try to strive for all the time. It's about CNS.
And what, going into this game against Liverpool in the Class AA semis here in Section 3, speaking with Dave Kline, the head coach of the CNS North Stars football team, what are you doing the best right now, and what do you want to shore up with these few days you have before the game?
I think we just, we got to shore up a little bit of the passing game, make sure we get that organized. But I think our line's playing pretty good right now. And again, it's going to be, we got to defensively. We're doing well. We just got to make sure, because our kids love to play fast and love to run the football, we just got to make sure we're not overrunning the football. Which was a big play when they had a 76-yard little swing pass that went for a touchdown. We overran the football. We got to make sure we stay in our alley, stay in our lanes as we're flying to the ball, and just secure everything. So, there's just little things here and there we got to clean up, but, they're all doable.
Why should the community come out to CNS to see this game against Liverpool this coming Friday, November 5th at 7 p.m.? Why should they be there?
It's a great opportunity to see 2 really good high school area football teams compete, play physical, watch kids show some unbelievable athletic ability. You're going to see good sportsmanship. You're going to see kids are going to work really hard and lay everything out there on the line. And it's just fun to watch it. See kids that, we see so many kids nowadays that just sit around, don't do anything, don't get involved, don't want to put themselves out there. But we're going to see a group of young men on both sides of the ball that want to go put themselves out there in front of everybody. They're willing to make a mistake if they make it, or willing to be, great. They dare to be great, which is, good for them. So, come out and support that and enjoy that high school atmosphere. It's a beautiful time. It's going to be 50 degrees, I think, Friday night, 48, 50 degrees. No rain in the forecast, so it's a great night to go out and just enjoy high school football.
What gets you going? Like, what is it for you, Coach, that really just makes you excited to continuously go out there and do this from season to season?
It's just every year is a fresh start. Every year is a clean slate. Every year is, all right, what can we do? You know what I mean? What do we got this year? How are we going to develop these kids? What are we going to do to make them not only better football players, make them better young men? What can we do? And that's the excitement of it. Every year, it's like a fresh start. Every year, you're beginning anew with the kids. So, that's always exciting to do. And then, if you're fortunate enough to get to this point in time, and I can't lie, everybody wants to win. So, it's enjoyable, to go out there and get this opportunity.
Coming from Dave Kline, the head coach of the CNS North Stars. Make sure you go out and support them and go see this game. CNS Liverpool, 7 p.m. this Friday, November 5th. Class AA Section 3 semifinal round of the postseason, and I'm just happy to have postseason football back in Central New York. Coach, as always, thank you so much. God bless, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate you having me on here. Take it easy, buddy.
You too.
All right,
See you.
bye.
That coming from Dave Kline here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Quick step aside and back with another coach here in our community heading to the semis, Joe Corley of West Genesee, right after this as they head into the Section 3 Class A semifinal round at Indian River. Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying. In the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop. and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Hanging out with you inside the Cafe Kubal studios with locations all throughout central and upstate New York, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, and 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse. Inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital out in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street, and of course in their drive-through location on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse. So make sure you check them out there. And I appreciate y'all so much for what you do to support local. Speaking of local, we have a local coach here who's no stranger to the broadcast, and that is none other than Joe Corley of West Genesee, the Wildcats head football coach, who's spent a lot of time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora over the past 4+ years, and was the first show that I ever did on site on location at the Wildcat Sports Pub. So it is my honor and my privilege to welcome back to the broadcast Mr. Joe Corley as his West Genesee Wildcats team is moving forward into the 2021 Section 3 Class A semifinal round. So let's bring him in. Coach, how are we doing today?
Doing great, Dan. How you doing?
Doing very well. And Coach, just what your main takeaways were from that 38-0 win over Carthage to get into this game.
It was the first time this season our guys played 4 full quarters. I feel like all year long we played really well, obviously. You don't play well and miss the playoffs. So we've been playing well, but we had always had those lulls and took our foot off the gas and either got flat or lost momentum and had to kind of restart. So we didn't have that Friday night. The kids started fast. They played consistently for the full 4 quarters. And even when we got guys in the game, in particular our second defense, they were able to sustain the shutout. So it says a lot about our guys, their focus, their preparation, and the fact that they're peaking right now at the right time. It's a great thing we have going on.
How much is peaking at the right time just sheer luck, and how much of it is the work that's put in the preparation?
For this group, it's the work and preparation. No matter what happened, on the outside, the fact is that we couldn't control. Our guys came to work every day, and they've been very coachable. They've been very upbeat, very positive, and I think they're really enjoying playing right now, and that says a lot. When the kids enjoy going to practice and going to work, good things typically happen, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
Why do you think this team's having so much fun? Why are they enjoying it? Why is kind of the culture this season become very, I don't want to say become upbeat and healthy because I know it's something that you push all the time, but why is the team having so much fun right now?
Well, we've been shut down now for, 2.5 weeks. We spent 2.5 weeks in shutdown mode where we weren't able to practice or gather as a team. We lost 2 games. We almost lost a third. So I think our guys have just gained an appreciation for being able to play. And, where it's human nature to take things for granted sometimes. Our guys haven't had the opportunity to do that. And I think that goes a long way. And when we got the call late that Tuesday night that we were going to be able to play Auburn, it was just a breath of fresh air for our guys, and they were so excited to be there. And it's almost like, we're never going to take this for granted again. They made the most of the opportunity and haven't looked back since.
And for you, seeing this team making the most of the opportunity, speaking here with Joe Corley, the head coach of the West Genesee Wildcats, what are you seeing on film from your team that you're doing the best right now? What is it about this team that you really feel has been maybe one or two, however many you think? What are the best attributes of this West Genesee team as it moves forward?
Just the fact that right now we're clicking on both sides of the ball this time of year. Usually you get the defense that kind of comes together and gels first, and the offense takes a little bit more time to develop, and then the offense comes along, and the defense may develop a few holes. But the fact that both sides of the ball are coming together right now at the same time, our offense has gotten really good on both sides of the ball. We're scoring a lot of points consistently. Our first defense hasn't allowed a single point in 4.5 games since the first half of the FN game. So to see both sides of the ball clicking and peaking right now says a lot about our guys.
What is it about the makeup of this team that you feel like this defense has gotten so stout and the offense has gotten so prolific? What is it this season of the clientele that you have that has really put you here?
I think it's the leadership. I mean, we have veterans on both sides of the ball. We have guys that started every game in the spring. So when you have returning starters, that goes a long way to having leadership on the field. It's like sometimes you can say it's like having a coach in the huddle. when you have guys that can just take charge, get people lined up, and we have that. But we also have those newer faces, those guys that did not start last year and are just now getting their opportunity this year, and they're making the most of it. They're excited about it. They're eager to step in and fill shoes. And when you get guys that play with that mentality, they usually do good things.
And like you said, since the beginning of the Auburn game, your first team defense has not allowed a single point in 4 weeks' time and whatnot, and going here into a fifth week and seeing what you could do against Indian River. Looking at what you've done, you've shut out teams from October 15th all the way through the end of October. In the last 3 games, you've outscored your opponents at this point 91-0. And if you go back to the Auburn game, looking at 131 points scored to 8 points allowed in the last 4 games.
It really started at halftime of the FM game. We were down 21-0. It was one of those things where everything was going wrong, even the things that were out of our control, the officiating, things like that. The guys just said enough's enough. We went behind the locker room at halftime. There was some anger, there was some frustration, but at the same time, it was like, this is about the worst it's going to get for us. If this is as bad as it gets, we're going to be okay. So let's regroup, let's refocus, and go out and play the second half the way we know how to play. And we did just that. We were able to get it down to 1 point, and we were an onside kick away from a shot at winning the game in what I would consider just dramatic fashion, right? So it was that halftime feeling of the wheels fell off the bus for the first time that forced our guys to get refocused and do what they do best.
Speaking here with Joe Corley, the head coach of the West Genesee Wildcats football team. What did you see on film, despite the shutout there, 38-0 that you defeated Carthage in the quarters here for 2021 Section 3 Class A postseason for football here in Central New York? What things do you want to kind of zero in on with these few days you have before Indian River, things that you want to correct at this point?
It's not so much correcting things, just finding ways to continue to get better. We're playing pretty good football right now, so we're not going on the film and looking for mistakes. It's really just a matter of making sure our guys don't get content with where they're at. We want to avoid complacency, and I always take kind of it's never good enough approach to my coaching, and we're always finding ways to get better. And the minute it gets good enough, that's when you stop striving to improve. And when that happens, you actually go backwards. So right now, it's just a matter of keeping the guys on their toes, making sure we have that mentality of as good as we're playing right now, we still got to get better. And what's helping is having Indian River in front of us, knowing that they've been, let's call it what it is. They've been the top dog in Class A for a long time. So knowing that we have, a battle in front of us is making it easier to keep the guys focused and keep them wanting to get better.
And that's exactly where I was going was, how do you keep this team focused when you are, scoring so many points and having so much success? How do you keep them focused in on the task at hand?
We just don't change our routine. We as coaches, we make sure we keep doing the little things that we do every day to get better, the fundamental things, the individual periods, making sure we're focusing on those things that tend to go unnoticed, like special teams, coaching guys up when the ball's going away from them and they're not really a direct factor in the play, like the little things that if we keep focusing on, they're going to keep thinking about, because the minute we become complacent as coaches, they become complacent as players. So I'm going to continue making these guys, go through scouting reports and having them watch film and going over things that our opponents do. All those little things that we do that tend to go unnoticed but make a big difference. The minute we stop doing that as coaches, the kids stop focusing on them as players, and that's when you go backwards.
Indian River, you and I spoke about it off the air, a prolific offense. Your offense has been scoring a lot of points. Their offense has been scoring a lot of points. Your defense has been shutting it down. They've scored 50 or more in 4 of their last 5 games. Thoughts on going up against an Indian River team on the road that can put up 50 on the board?
I think you just said it. I mean, they are explosive. They're a run dominant football team. They get off the ball up front. They've got dangerous athletes all over the field. And the style of offense they run, it's not traditional. It's a double wing, and they also run some triple option, which if you're not disciplined can be difficult to defend. But that's what it's all about. Our guys are up for the challenge, and you want to play the big game. You want to play the best teams in your area that you can play, and we're going to get that opportunity. So we're excited about it.
Why should people come out to Indian River this Friday, November 5th at 7 p.m.?
Because you got the two best teams in Section 3 going at it, Dan. Why not?
That coming from Joe Corley, West Genesee Wildcats football team. Joe, as always, I appreciate it. God bless with everything, and you know we'll be talking very soon, but I appreciate and respect the work that you put in. I know there's been a lot of sleepless nights, blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot that you've put into this program to get here. So congratulations, stay focused, and let's keep moving forward.
Thanks, Dan. You've always been good to our guys. I really appreciate what you do.
Yeah, well, always. You know, it's easy to help good people, so I appreciate your time.
Well, likewise. Take care, Dan. I appreciate it.
All right, talk to you soon. That coming from Joe Corley here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Coming to you, West Genesee Wildcats head football coach as they get set to face off against Indian River on the road in the semifinal round for the 2021 Section 3 Class A playoffs. Don't miss it this Friday, November 5th on the road at Indian River, West Genny at Indian River at 7 p.m. this Friday, November 5th. We'll take a step aside for a fast break, come back for the first time ever with Mark Ingram, Associate Vice President and Director of Athletics at UAB, speaking on the move for the University at Alabama, Birmingham to head into the American Athletic Conference.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecubal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you head out there today and every Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Millhouse Market has a downloadable app that'll have everything at your fingertips on the Apple app or Google Play Store with their homemade breads, desserts, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, salads, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our taste buds and ingrained in our community, the Millhouse Market is second to none. And I challenge you to try and decide between your favorites on that menu every single time you head up to the Millhouse Market. It seems like I always end up creating a new favorite and make the decision even harder for me. But it's a great problem to have at the Millhouse Market with so many great things on the menu, led by a great team. And at the top of that, Rebecca Alford, who is just a magician in the kitchen. So make sure you find your way out to the Millhouse Market today. 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every time. Back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. It is my honor and privilege to be with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And it is truly an honor and a privilege for the first time ever to welcome to the broadcast the UAB Associate Vice President and Director of Athletics, Mark Ingram, following the decision for UAB to join the American Athletic Conference as one of the 6 new full member institutions to the American. And so we bring him on to the live line right now for the first time ever on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, making history here inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Mark, how you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Dan. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And Mark, you and I were talking off the air that you have a connection already to the American Athletic Conference, and I'd love to share that this morning.
Well, I've got a lot of connections to the American Athletic Conference, but I was at Temple University when the American Conference was formed. We had just been invited into the Big East, and some members left. Let's see, it was Louisville, Pittsburgh, and Syracuse who left, as did Rutgers and West Virginia had left just before those schools. In fact, Temple replaced West Virginia in the Big East. Well, when those other 4 left, and we replaced them with Tulsa, Tulane, and East Carolina, there was a group that referred to themselves as the Catholic Seven, who were primarily basketball schools who all decided to leave the Big East. And in fact, at that time, they said, we're not sure what we're going to do. But these 7 schools said, we're not sure what we're going to do, but we're not staying in this group. And really, it made a lot of sense because they either did not play football or they played FCS football. And that's how the American got formed, and we ultimately gave them the name the Big East. So it is what is now known as the Big East. Excuse me, but that's how that got started. And, I remember from the beginning how that all began. And then I've got a lot of great relationships with the other ADs. The new AD at Temple, Arthur Johnson, and I used to work together at Georgia. The athletic director at Memphis, Laird Veach, he and I used to work together at Missouri. We were neighbors, in fact. And John Gilbert is the athletic director at East Carolina. We used to work together at Tennessee. So, I've got some good friends there and looking forward to reacquainting myself with all of them.
You know, and having that connection to the American Athletic Conference already and knowing, its value and what Mike Oresco is building and whatnot, did that lead into your decision here, when you're looking at the grand scope of things with UAB, that you already, knew the leadership, you knew what they were after, what they wanted to do and how they wanted to go about it. Did that help the conversation to be a little bit easier, a little more open, that you've had that history with the American Athletic?
Yeah, I would say definitely it did. And so they certainly didn't have to sell me on anything. And the value for our university primarily is being able to take our brand to all these other major markets. So Birmingham, Alabama, for your listeners, is a bigger place than most people realize. There's 1.2 million people in the greater Birmingham area. It's a bit of a secret here in the South because we don't have a professional sports team. But it's a larger city than New Orleans. It's a larger city than Memphis. It's the number 40 ranked television market in the country, but it ranks number 1 for college football. And being able to take our brand, though, now to those cities I mentioned, Memphis, New Orleans, Tulsa, Philadelphia, going up to that sort of Washington, Baltimore area when we play Navy, going to Tampa, that's great for student recruitment. I'm not even talking about athletics. It's just great to be able to take our brand to those other major markets to help recruit students. So the association with those other great cities, and then of course the association with some other great academic institutions, like maybe who I mentioned, SMU, Tulsa, Tulane. These are high level universities who pride themselves in their academic strength, and UAB is a world class medical research institution. So we're thrilled to be aligned with those other great schools as well.
Speaking here with the Associate Vice President and Director of Athletics, Mark Ingram of UAB. Obviously, in the great state of Alabama, there's that team, the Alabama Crimson Tide. And how have you worked to kind of carve out your niche and carve out your space within all of that, knowing that, Alabama has Auburn, Alabama has Alabama, so you got the Tide, you have the Tigers. How does UAB kind of carve out that space, and what have you done to say, hey, we're in this state too, we want a piece of this pie? How have you worked to do that?
Well, what we've done is we've worked to embrace them. I think too many times mid-major schools, which I don't love that term, but just, for sake of conversation, I think sometimes we too frequently try to say, we don't like those guys. We're against those guys. We don't want to, somebody shows up to a game and they're wearing that gear. Golly, that makes me mad. That doesn't make me mad at all. I'm thrilled that they took the time to come to our game. They didn't have to come to our game. They didn't have to buy a ticket, but they did, regardless of the color of their shirt. You know what? The color of their money is the same as mine, and I'll take it, and I'm thrilled to have it, and I appreciate them being there. So what we do, particularly in the sport of football, is the Southeastern Conference headquarters are right here in Birmingham. When they make a decision on Monday morning, they use a 12-day window to make their TV selections. We wait and we see what time Auburn and Alabama are going to play. And if we have the flexibility, if we are not televised at the time and we're not, governed to a pre-selected time ourselves, we just play when they're not playing. And some people would say, well, why would you do that? You should play when you think it's best for you. Well, what's best for us is to have as many fans there as we can get. And we're trying to give our community the opportunity to do it. So coming back to our earlier comment, when I said there's 1.2 million people in Birmingham, well, they can't all go to those games, right? Those two stadiums hold about 100,000 each, and those fans are coming from all over the place, not just Birmingham. I'm not trying to keep somebody from going to Auburn or going to Tuscaloosa. I'm trying to capture that person who's staying at their house to watch those games on television. So we just try to play when those guys are not playing, so that if one of those is your team, you could come to our game and get home to see them, or, watch those games on television and then come see us afterwards. Either way. And that's served us well to just write, hey, look, y'all come on in. The water is fine. You're welcome here. And that's what we've done. And that's been our approach.
Speaking here this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Cubal studios with Mark Ingram of UAB, looking at the fact that, and I appreciate that context and everything you said, and it makes sense. This football program, though, just a few years back was canceled, was shut down. Bring me into that. I mean, this is a team that was erased from history, and then there was so much upheaval and protest after the fact. They come back, and not only do they come back successfully. Can you bring me into this trail of you go from UAB with a football team to UAB not having the team anymore to now joining the American Athletic Conference and bringing value with your football team? It's a very unique story to tell.
It is, and if we had 3 or 4 hours, we could really do a nice deep dive into it. I mean, it's been a fascinating ride and almost like a fairy tale, quite honestly, the sort of the fall and the rise of this program and to do what you just stated. But, fans of sport don't realize that when schools eliminate sports, it's not because they don't love the sport. you're trying to operate at a high level. You're trying to provide everybody a world-class experience as a student athlete. You're trying to give them what you would call a Division I athletic experience, which is not about participation. Okay, this is not youth rec sports about participation. This is a competitive environment where coaches are hired and sometimes fired for their performance, and so it's not just about having a team and let's get the orange slices and muffins and which mom's going to bring the lemonade after the game. That's not what this is. But too frequently, we view sport like that at the Division I collegiate level. And so when universities eliminate a sport, fans can't understand it. Well, you love the kids are great. You love the coach is great. It's not about how much they've won. You just kind of look at it and you say, we can't afford to continue to sort of starve all of our programs for the sake of keeping so many. And at UAB, we eliminated football because we couldn't afford to keep it, and there wasn't any progress being made to make it better. Our practice facility was the worst in the country by far. I mean, by far, Dan. We had a 3,000 square foot building that 40 people worked in, just stacked in on top of each other with one bathroom. There was a building next door to that was about the same size. It was a maintenance shed, okay? And that maintenance shed had been turned, half of it into a locker room, and the other half was just a big empty room with folding chairs. That was the only meeting space. You go outside and the practice field sloped 10 feet from one end to the other. Okay, so we're practicing on a field that sloped 10 feet, and then we're playing at Legion Field, which is an iconic venue in college sports, but it's seen its better days, and it's huge. It's, they eliminated 20,000 seats, and it's still got 71,000 seats in it. And so that's just, for modern sports, that's just not conducive to what the audience wants. And so the athletic department was hemorrhaging money every year, losing more than $1 million a year over a long period of time. And finally, the solution was, well, if we eliminate football, let's go be Wichita State. Let's be VCU, because we've got a great basketball history. Let's take our funds, let's invest in basketball and our other sports, and let's go be great at everything else that we do. And when that happened, all of a sudden the community sort of stepped up and said, wait a minute, we can't have this. And so people who had never really been to our games before, had never supported before, came forward and invested in the program in a way that was, just like I said, when I said fairy tale, it was like something out of a movie. We raised $17.2 million after doing a study to see what would it cost to bring the team back. We raised $17.2 million in a couple of weeks. And UAB athletics had never raised more than about $500,000 or $600,000 at any one time for a project, and we raised 17.2 in 3 weeks, and which is amazing. I mean, that'd be amazing for anybody, frankly, but for us, it was unheard of. And then we raised another $22.5 million for a practice facility that is stunning, that we built. So we raised $40 million for UAB athletics, specifically UAB football, in about a year. $40 million, when we had never raised really any money ever for UAB football. And then we turned around and that by building that practice facility, we could recruit great players. We have now won, in the last 4 years, we've won 3 straight division titles and 2 conference championships, 4 bowl invitations. And we just opened up a place called Protective Stadium, a brand new football stadium downtown. We partnered with our city, our county, our local convention center authority. So we got some tax dollars, and our business community stepped up, all of which to invest in this stunning stadium that is what I think is probably the nicest college football stadium in the country. It is spectacular, Dan. And there's not anybody at any level that wouldn't come in and say that. And I've worked at Tennessee, Georgia, Missouri, Temple, and here. And I haven't been everywhere, but I've been a lot of places. And I've never been to a college stadium that's as nice as this. And so to do that in that short amount of time, you're right, has been a lot of fun. And look, it's not just football. At UAB, we've invested and we've raised money to build a new soccer stadium that is the nicest on-campus soccer-only venue in the country. We built a brand new softball stadium. We built a brand new track. I mentioned that practice field that was sloped 10 feet. Our track was around that sloped field. So our track also sloped 10 feet. And not only that, it was in the shape of a square. Yeah. A square, not an oval. It was a square. So we've invested and built a brand new, beautiful Olympic quality track. We've renovated our Olympic sport weight room.